behind the speaker system is it has a, you can see basically a curve to it. It's a variable angle system, and we've adjusted the angle so that the sound falls on all the seats. So in the actual design, we made sure that we have sound coverage throughout the entire facility. We also put some additional speakers under the balcony, which fills in that area down below as well. So you have a system that covers everything, and that's important, obviously. Up top, above those speakers, the larger black boxes, those are subwoofers. So those are responsible for the bass, and essentially they kind of fill out the sound and give you that kind of nice full sound that you want to get out of the system, okay? There's another couple of speakers here which we have, and we haven't even hooked these things up yet, but these are little monitor speakers, and there's not much to them. But in essence, these little speakers can be mounted directly on a microphone stand with an adapter which is in here. And these little speakers are just designed for placing down there for the choir so they can actually hear the service. And you can use these if you need to, or you don't, then don't use them. But basically what you can do is you can decide on the soundboard what you're going to send to these speakers. So if you decide, or the choir says to you, well, we can't hear any of the service.
They have said that.
Right. Well, we plug in one of these speakers and hook it up. We can selectively send just the stuff from the clip-on microphone to these speakers so they can hear. Or we can send the clip-on microphone and the podium microphone to these speakers so they can hear. So there's a lot of different adjustment, all right, that's possible, okay? So speakers are there, speakers under the balcony. Over here on this side, down on this rack here, whoops, which really there's not a whole lot in there to play with. Okay, it has to be turned on, and that's probably step one, is to get the power turned on. And I think now we have it all wired direct, correct, or is that coming?
Well, another plug is coming, but
okay.
Everything should be on now.
Okay, so system has to be powered up, and you can confirm that it is powered up by seeing the various different indicator lights on the different pieces of equipment, and also over here. It's currently running through light switches, but that's a temporary thing. It's
on one light switch at the moment.
One
Yeah,
on the light panel and
Yep.
which one?
should be changed next week.
Where is that? Oh,
It's
doesn't
marked
matter.
down
Yeah.
there.
No,
It's
it's
one of the
not
ones
even
along the
worried
top, and it's marked PA system.
Yeah, if you're changing it, it doesn't matter.
Yep, and it's
And
gonna
it
be,
has nothing to do with the fans.
yeah, nothing.
No,
No,
nothing.
fans are irrelevant. We thought they were, but they're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't know really what we were into there.
No.
Okay. So over in this rack over here, we have the power amplifiers. The amplifiers drive the subs, the main speakers here, and the speakers under the balcony. Each one of those components up there has a separate amplifier, so we can adjust the volume independently, and that's already done. You guys don't have to worry about that. But the other item we have in here is a sound processor, which is an equalizer, and it essentially just, you know, like at home you have bass and treble on your home stereo. It's a glorified version of that, and it allows us to calibrate the sound in the room to get the best quality. So we've come in and we've already calibrated this system. Just because we've calibrated, all that means is that, you know, when you use the system and you put in, say, music, you're going to get a reasonable reproduction in the room. But that being said, you got to remember that most of your sources coming into the system are from microphones, and those still require the knowledge to adjust them so you get the best sound out of them. So we may get into the actual active EQing. I don't know whether that's going a little too far for today, but in essence what we have down here is we have a series of microphones, and all the microphones are connected to this console here. And this console is essentially the heart of the whole system. So you can in fact control each of the individual microphones here, and you can control the master volume, which is this control here, which is the main speaker assembly. Now when you turn up this control here, not only does it turn those up, it also turns the under balcony speakers up at the same proportionate rate. So it actually controls levels for both. So this is the most important button on the whole thing. This is the volume for the entire system, okay?
There's no stereo or left or right.
Absolutely not. No, it's a monaural system because it's a center hang. Left and right imaging that you have at home or in your car doesn't really correlate into an environment like this because in essence it would depend entirely upon where you're sitting. So this is a mono system, and it completely covers the entire area, which is typical of this type of system. Okay, so that's our master volume over here. Now we have this whole row of controls here, and we've got this really complex looking board, but the deal is every single strip on this board running this way is identical. Okay, so if you understand one control stripped from the top to the bottom, you understand the whole board, because it's just repeated. And that's important to remember, because a lot of people look at these boards and go, "Phew, there's no way I'm going to figure out how to control that many buttons." But in essence, it's the same top to bottom. Not only that, is there's controls in here which you would regularly touch, and there's controls in here which you would not mess with too often. But you do have to understand how the board operates in order to use it properly. So when this system was designed, the concepts that were on the table were set and forget, which is an audio system that you literally turn on and walk away from. And then there's a managed system, which requires an operator to fine-tune this. And basically, the decision was made that it had to work in both scenarios. So we want something that if we're just using one microphone, we want to be able to come up here, turn it up, and walk away from it and have it operate. What I pointed out originally when we discussed this is that's possible with any system, but what you got to remember is you don't really get the best performance out of it unless you actually know what you're doing and tweak it. And that's what I want you guys to learn, is how to tweak it. So we want to do better than just turning on a system, turning up a microphone and walking away. We want to get better quality audio from that, okay? So what we'll do then is we'll look at this rack over here, which is the only other thing that's really of any importance. And in this rack we have this first device, which is the assistive listening. So you guys are probably familiar with these little headsets that are around there. These, I assume, are handed out to people who require them, and this is if you are hard of hearing. And you can actually send the signals from here directly to this unit. This unit transmits throughout the entire church. It's basically a radio transmitter is all it is. And it's picked up by these devices, and then you can listen to it on the headset. It has its own volume control, which is nice, because if you are hard of hearing, essentially you can control your own level.
Hey?
Yeah.
They
Don't
work
say
great.
that. You're the golden boy here, remember?
Yeah, Jim
Come on. I know you're aware of it, you hear us guys. Okay, so these are great because if people will use them, it makes a world of difference. And I tell you, if they don't, I don't care what kind of sound system you have, you'll never please everyone. And the thing to remember in doing sound is don't take it too personally if you get a complaint. Because if you can make everyone happy, it would be unusual. There's going to be those people that are going to come forward and say it's too loud, it's too quiet, it's too whatever. So kind of what I do is I take the average of the complaints. If I get 3 people tell me they can't hear, that's worth listening to. If you get one person telling you they can't hear and they're hard of hearing, don't change the way you do things specifically for that reason. Suggest perhaps they use an assistive listening device, okay? If you have somebody who's in the congregation who knows sound, maybe they have a band or whatever, you find people like that typically want to impart their opinion. Fantastic. If it's constructive and it's helpful, certainly listen, and if you can incorporate what they say, they might come and say, hey, that microphone sounds like a telephone. It's too ringy or it's too whatever. Those are the kind of comments I would listen to and try and make adjustments for when you can, okay? So we also have 2 boxes here, and these 2 boxes are your wireless microphones. The power switch is located right here. All right, there's really nothing more on these that you need to